One guy I think they would really like, Drake Maye of number 10 ranked UNC. Beat Miami last week 41-31, went 17 for 33, 273 yards. Relatively modest performance, but he did also have 4 touchdowns. Tez Walker had 3 of those touchdowns, catching 6 passes for 132 yards. The next time we're going to see Drake Maye, he's going to be facing off against Virginia. What did you see from his performance against Miami? Because he did have a pretty slow start, obviously finished pretty strong, and the score is not even indicative of how one-sided it was towards the end of that game. But do you think it popped up as maybe a concern, or it's, hey, he played a good defense, these things happen, he still came out on top?
Yeah, I lean more towards the second. I actually think Miami's defense is a little overrated. And that's not to say they're not good. They're 25th in the nation. They've allowed 19 points per game, but you break that down, 3 points against Miami of Ohio, 7 points against Bethune-Cookman, an FCS school, 7 points against Temple, and 23 points again, and grade 23 is a little, they really shouldn't have allowed the last 7. That was the coaching issue. But you look at the one good team they've played, Texas A&M out of the SEC, they allowed 33 points. So they kind of haven't played anybody. That being said, for Drake Maye, I think it's a tough spot for him, and I thought he played well. There's nothing wrong with kind of needing to feel out a defense. For me, though, with Drake Maye, it's going to come down to that game he plays against Duke in a couple of weeks. And if Miami's defense is good, Duke's defense is great. They're allowing less than 10 points per game, 4th in the nation. And yes, they did allow a 7 spot to Lafayette, which is a non-FCS team. But you look at what else they've done. 7 points to Clemson, 21 points to Notre Dame, 3 to North Carolina State. They've held some good offenses in check. And that's where I really want to see Drake Maye. I almost feel about Drake Maye's game like I feel about the game Bo Nix had this week. Not necessarily I think they're the same quarterback, but it's, all right, I don't know that I learned anything. He did what he needed to do. Great. I still see him as kind of that hybrid Justin Herbert, Josh Allen. I don't think he's as reckless as Josh Allen. I don't think he's quite as athletic as Josh Allen. But you talk about the arm, there are shades of a guy like Josh Allen, like Justin Herbert, but I do think he has a little more athleticism. Or is just a little better with the ball in his hands, more polished as a ball carrier than a guy like Justin Herbert is. I still think he's the second best quarterback in this class. I don't think there's a question about it, but I don't know. I can't get all hot and bothered about him against Miami. I just can't. I don't really believe in what that defense is. If he tears up Duke, then you get out of control. But at home against that team, against that Miami team, I think he did more or less what he should have done.
The CLNS Media Network is powered by FanDuel. Sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston and get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose.
And I feel like I don't want to call Drake Maye safe necessarily because, like you said, he's got the athleticism. You're not just getting a pocket quarterback who's going to do his job. There's extra outside of that as well. But when compared to a Caleb Williams, who we'll talk about, but did not do well last week, do you think it's fair to say this is really a pick your flavor of who you want as QB1? Or do you think Caleb Williams' upside is so high, it's no, it doesn't really matter that there's probably going to be some growing pains. He has to be your top pick as long as you develop him correctly.
I don't even know that it's the upside. I think it's the floor. I still have questions about where Drake Maye's floor is, just because he is so young and so raw. I feel like Caleb Williams' baseline is going to be decent in the NFL. Maybe he doesn't live up to the I could see him, being like an Andrew Luck kind of guy, right? Where Andrew Luck was good, but he never lived up to that generational prospect thing. I feel like at the very least you're going to need a quarterback that's going to take you to the playoffs more often than not. Caleb Williams. Drake Maye, again, just he's a young kid, and the hype with him is really all upside. It is. He only has a handful of games you point to where you say here's the upside manifesting itself. Right. Now, the Miami game was kind of one, but for me, it's just I think, not to say Drake Maye isn't safe. I think that his floor is still good. Again, I think him and Penix kind of have that same floor, but it's. For Caleb Williams, I think that it's just a little more guaranteed.
And real quick, last thing on Drake Maye, but he's someone that is regularly, I've kind of been putting out my propaganda, mostly just because I made a meme and I liked it and I was proud of it. So I'm just going to put it out there as much as I can. If you're listening to the show, you might have seen it on Twitter. But what are the red flags? Like, what is it about Maye other than the age where you're saying, yes, like you can get excited about him, but you have to understand he comes with blank?
Yeah, I don't even know that it's necessarily on him. And again, this goes back to that Duke game. Like, he doesn't necessarily have that big game win, that defense that you want to see him tear up, that he's torn up. You go to last year and some of the better defenses he faced. He was good against Duke, but Duke wasn't really the defense they were this year. He struggled against Clemson. He wasn't amazing against Oregon. He didn't turn the ball over, but he played a very safe game. He was okay this year against South Carolina. He threw 2 picks. Is he going to be shell-shocked? If he needs to start right away, where he's going to be drafted, he's going to be starting right away. How does he handle that jump in level? And where this gets really scary for some people is this is what we said about Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky only started for 1 season, and it was kind of like you're drafting, and Mitch Trubisky shouldn't have been drafted as high as he was for this exact reason. Mitch Trubisky, you were drafting purely on spec. He didn't necessarily have that signature win. He hadn't torn up an SEC defense, anything like that. But it was like, man, we like kind of what we see in the flashes. Now, the flashes for Drake Maye, and Drake Maye's detractors will compare him to Mitchell Trubisky and to Sam Howell. The flashes with Drake Maye are much more significant than they ever were with Mitchell Trubisky. He has shown a lot more, and he is going to have chances to face Duke. We'll see who they play in the bowl game. If they get a chance in that situation, if he gets a chance to face an elite defense like that, even if maybe they sneak into the college football playoff, who knows? And maybe he gets a shot at like Georgia or something like that. But
goodness gracious.
to me, it's, do you trust his mental makeup? And this comes to the part of the draft that we can evaluate, Taylor. And that's what it's like in the meetings. Do they trust the mental makeup where he's going to have a hard go of it as a rookie because it is going to be a jump in competition? Do you trust him to handle that? Or is that going to be too big for him? That, to me, is the big question with Drake Maye. I don't know that it's anything about his game individually. I actually think, for everything I just said about his floor, and this is kind of what I mean about his floor, he is, just as his skill set, he's the most well-rounded quarterback in this draft. I don't know that any of his traits individually are the best trait among the quarterbacks, right? He has a great arm. I don't know that he has the best arm. He's mobile, but I don't know that he's the most mobile, right? You go through like that, but he might be the second best at everything. And there's just not a lot of flaws in his game. It's just, I got to see it against another level of competition to see how he handles that.
With the busy fall season already in swing, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Too busy this fall to cook? Want to make sure you're eating well? With Factor, skip the extra trip to the grocery store and the chopping, prepping, and cleaning up too, while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality you need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes. So all you have to do is heat and enjoy, then get back to crushing your goals. Looking for calorie-conscious options during the busy season? Try the delicious dietitian-approved Calorie Smart meals with around less than 550 calories per serving. This September, get Factor and enjoy eating well without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door. Ready in just 2 minutes. No prep, no mess. Head to factormeals.com/PressPass50 and use code PressPass50 to get 50% off. That's code PressPass50 at factormeals.com/PressPass50 to get 50% off. Ever wish you could navigate the betting field with the confidence of a pro? Enter Odds Are. They're not a sports book, but they're the sports betting advisor you've always needed. It's like having a playbook for smarter bets right in your pocket. I've been absolutely loving the experience, and I think you will too. Especially since Patriots Press Pass listeners get a 30-day free trial. Elevate your game day and join the smart betting revolution. Go get it. at oddsr.com/presspass. That's oddsr.com/presspass.